The Wealthy Man's Quandary, an insightful lesson on happiness. In a world obsessed with achievement and affluence, the story of a wealthy man who has it all yet feels a profound emptiness strikes a universal chord. His experience invites us to reflect on the often ignored reality that success, when not rooted in purpose and presence, can become a gilded cage. This is not a tale of poverty or excess, but a quest for true contentment. It explores what it means to live fully and meaningfully, not just luxuriously. It unveils the subtle gap between external success and internal peace and what it takes to bridge it. The wealthy man could be any of us. Not just someone who lives in a mansion or drives luxury cars, but anyone who has relentlessly pursued the markers of societal success, only to find that they have been chasing shadows. He worked harder than most, achieved more than many, and reached financial freedom at an age when his peers were still climbing the corporate ladder. He was the benchmark of making it. But when the applause faded and the noise of transactions subsided, he began hearing the quiet stirrings of discontent. It wasn't loud nor sudden. It was a persistent whisper that questioned everything. Is this all there is? His days were filled, but not fulfilling. His calendar was packed, yet his spirit felt empty. He was surrounded by acquaintances, but felt deeply alone. He tried to buy time with money outsourcing errands, hiring staff, but found that inner peace couldn't be purchased. Despite all the symbols of wealth, he felt bankrupt in the only currency that truly matters: joy. As the years passed, he began to notice patterns. Each goal he achieved brought a fleeting high, followed by a deeper low. He was addicted to success, yet numbed by it. Every new luxury became ordinary too soon. Every milestone reached felt hollow after the celebration ended. He wondered why the very things that once excited him now felt like burdens. He turned inward. At first reluctantly, then with growing curiosity. He began asking himself questions he had long avoided. What brings me genuine peace? When was the last time I felt deeply alive? Have I been living for validation or for meaning? This self-inquiry became the catalyst for change. He didn't sell all his possessions or move to a remote monastery. Rather, he began reorienting his life, one insight at a time. It started with recognizing that his definition of wealth had been too narrow. He had focused on bank balances, not heart balances. He learned that happiness is not a destination, but a way of traveling. It is not found in the abundance of things, but in the depth of experiences. It is not a reward for success, but often a companion to simplicity. He began to shift his investments from things to time, from possessions to people, from ambition to authenticity. He scheduled long walks instead of board meetings, made space for silence rather than strategy, and started journaling about gratitude rather than future gains. Each of these changes felt small on the surface, but monumental in effect. Conversations became richer. Moments became more meaningful. He found joy in the ordinary and sunrises, shared meals, unhurried mornings. The laughter of his children became more valuable than dividends. The quiet presence of his partner became more comforting than accolades. He also revisited his past not to dwell, but to understand. He saw how his self-worth had been entangled with achievement, how he had internalized the belief that being enough required doing more, how he had pushed love away in the pursuit of being admired. With each realization came release. Forgiveness followed not just for others, but for himself. For the years spent chasing the wrong goals, for the relationships neglected, for the self ignored. In time, his inner landscape transformed. He didn't need fewer responsibilities, but clearer priorities. He didn't need to escape his life, but to engage with it differently. By changing his perspective, he changed everything. He became a student of joy. He read books on mindfulness, listened to thought leaders who spoke of intentional living, and joined communities centered around purpose rather than profit. He realized that while wealth could buy options, only wisdom could choose well. One evening, during a retreat in nature, he met a teacher who told him, "The happiest people aren't those with the most, but those who need the least." That line stayed with him. It challenged the very foundation of his former life, and it inspired him to simplify not in scarcity, but in sufficiency. He decluttered not just his home, but his heart. He released the need to impress and embraced the desire to connect. He began living for today rather than someday, the someday that never comes. He started mentoring young entrepreneurs, not about how to scale faster or sell higher, but how to live with purpose. He told them, "Success without self-awareness is like sailing without a compass. Don't build a life you'll need to recover from. Start with joy. The rest will follow." His story began to resonate, not because it was dramatic, but because it was relatable. Many saw themselves in his journey, successful but tired, admired but isolated, progressing but not thriving. He reminded them and himself that real wealth is time to think, freedom to feel, courage to rest, permission to play, love without transaction. He still ran his business, still enjoyed fine things, but they no longer defined him. They were tools, not trophies, means, not meaning. His sense of enough grew, and with it, his sense of peace. He taught his children that happiness is not hidden in the future, but available now. That worth is not measured by applause, but by alignment. That life's greatest luxury is living it fully awake. Looking back, he didn't regret the chase, but he cherished the pause. The moment he asked, "What is this all for?" That question changed everything. The lesson is simple but profound. External success is hollow without internal harmony. Money is powerful, but not powerful enough to replace meaning. And happiness is not about getting more, but remembering what truly matters. In a world that rewards noise, he chose depth. In a culture that prizes speed, he chose stillness. In a society obsessed with more, he discovered enough. His wealth hadn't changed, but he had, and that made all the difference. Meaning, story isn't about rejecting wealth, but reimagining it. The wealthy man's quandary is ours too when we lose sight of joy in the pursuit of success. But just as he reclaimed his life, so can we. One reflection, one realignment, one mindful choice at a time. Let your life be rich in what lasts. Because true happiness doesn't come when you finally make it. It begins the moment you wake up to what really matters.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more video.